Welcome to the Thoroughly Wrong Project with Lalo and Bob. We appreciate you spending some time with us today. Let's jump right into that weekly dose of things you can disagree with. Take it away, guys.
All right. Good morning and welcome to the Thoroughly Wrong Project. How you doing, man?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Pretty good. I'm pretty hungover.
I was gonna ask, are you hungover again?
Yeah. But it was a good night. It was a good night. I'm sticking to that whole, one night a week, and it's working out pretty well. I'm not sick or dying or anything. Just a little sluggish.
Yeah,
Just
you can feel it a little bit.
Yeah. But I feel good, like 6 days a week. I feel great. I eat right, I sleep and exercise and meditate, do all that staying alive stuff. So I feel good. And then, so this is like a real contrast to the way I usually wake up, man. Not cool. I even had some trepidation last night about drinking. I did. I was just like, man, do I really want to feel bad? Yeah, I do.
I'm sure after a few weekends, your body will be used to it. So
Yeah, we can get used to anything, right?
just take some ibuprofen like right before you go to bed, and you should wake up a lot better.
Yeah, so should I take ibuprofen or acetaminophen, whatever it is?
I heard
Tylenol.
just ibuprofen like right before you go to bed. I mean, if you're able to remember to take it,
Well,
just like
no,
set it right by your bed or something, and
I'm
then
not
take it
getting
right
that
before you
drunk.
go to bed.
All right. I drank a
And
lot
then
of water.
yeah, that helps too. Preparing your body for what's coming.
The Thoroughly Wrong Project drinking procedures, right? Drink a lot of water, take some fucking ibuprofen, eat something, you'll be fine. You'll wake up just perfect.
Exactly.
No, I like I said, I went almost 235 days, whatever that is, 7 months without drinking at all, without anything. It just sucks. Sobriety sucks, man. It's like some fucking cult that everybody's in. It's like, how many days are you sober? And you're keeping fucking count on it, and you're really trying to stay proud of yourself while dying inside. I don't think. Maybe some people need complete sobriety because they cannot do what I'm doing. They can't control it. They lose control of it almost immediately. But this has been what, four weeks that I've been doing this, and during the week, dude, I don't feel like drinking at all. In fact, on Saturday night, I didn't feel like drinking, but I did anyway because I don't know. Can we talk about that?
I mean, I
Why?
know, like you're right. Like, I don't think it's for like not many people. At least if you have like an issue with drinking,
Yeah,
or you be able to like kind of keep it under control. Because I don't think that's like an easy thing to do, especially when you're like, just so used to doing it like every day.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I think you're definitely right there that it's not for everybody, but I think it would definitely be worth a shot to see if you're like uh capable of doing it. That way you can kind of like you could have it in your mind like, okay, I don't want to be like I am right now where I'm fucking like drunk every day, but
right.
I still want to enjoy drinking because it
Yeah,
makes me feel good.
it
So,
sure
and
does.
it kind of it's like a win-win, like you're not like killing yourself, and at the same time you're still able to do something that you like to do.
Yeah, and that's exactly
Not
where I
so bad.
came. That's where I came from. I got really sick and tired of being drunk all the time. Every single fucking night, I was catching a buzz or going a little past that, and it just got old. And while like I said, I do consider drinking to be like fun. I like it. It tastes good. It makes me feel good. It make good. you just have a good time. As long as you're not out there getting, shitty drunk, which I didn't, and I don't want to do that anymore. But so during the week, I'm in control of myself. I don't think about drinking. I'm gearing up for school. I'm going to work. I'm doing things with my family, taking care of the podcast, doing all kinds of shit. But on Saturday night, fuck you, man. It's time to kick the plug out of the wall.
Yeah, everything, like I said, everything in moderation's not bad.
That's right. Uh-oh. Now that I think you could get in real fucking trouble with that too. I know there's not a lot of meth addicts listening because they sold most of the stuff they would listen to the podcast on, but
meth just once a week is not that bad.
Meth once a week is not something you want to consider, or heroin or any of that shit.
Most things in moderation are good. How about that?
Most things in moderation. That's right. Any news this week interest you? Like, I don't know, it was raining ash yesterday and we hadn't seen the sun for 3 days, or anything like that.
I mean, I feel like there's news constantly, like every day. I mean, obviously, but it's like I've said before, it seems like every few days, like the world's ending in a different way,
Yeah.
So I woke up, when was it? Was it Friday? Yeah, when it was all smoky. And I was thinking I woke up in like Mexico, the way they portrayed in like movies and TV shows. I was like, did I wake up in Mexico or something? Am I in a Breaking Bad episode?
I know, man. It's like, I think it was yesterday. Well, it was actually Friday, Saturday. I haven't seen it today, but you could walk outside and look at the sun. I mean, like, you could just look at it.
My friend told me, I was like in the sun for like a whole minute and it didn't bother me once. I was like, I still wouldn't do that if I was you. I'm pretty sure it still does some damage.
I know. But I mean, usually if you glance at the sun, it hurts immediately. This way, it was like looking at the moon, kind of like, there it is. There's the sun. It's some post-apocalyptic fucking landscape. And yesterday, standing outside, I was going to the bank. My wife and I were standing in the parking lot talking, and she goes, "Is that ash?" Yeah.
I didn't actually see any, but I heard about it, like, just coming down. It's like,
it was up here.
The closest thing to snow we're ever going to see here in Bakersfield.
It was weird, man. It's just, and then I went to the store, and there's the homeless guy. All the windows in, like all the stores in the complex, the shopping center down at Fairfax and Niles got busted out. So there's fucking cops everywhere. There's firefighters everywhere. They're assessing the situation, and it's gloomy as hell. There's smoke everywhere. And in the middle of all of it, there's this fucking homeless guy, and he's sitting in the middle of the parking lot. He's set up a little camp. I mean, like in the middle of the parking lot, dude. Like he doesn't care anymore. He's just, fuck it, I'm tired. It's like, yeah. So I'm looking at this fucking landscape, and I just had to laugh. I'm just like, this looks like the end,
People are just not caring anymore and doing whatever they want.
Yeah, it's just, it's like the end of culture. All the windows are broken out. Everything's vandalized. There's homeless people. The air's bad. The water's running out. What water we have is poison. The air is poison. There's a pandemic raging. Nobody's wearing a fucking mask. Everybody's given up. But guess what? The fair's open, and there are no restrictions. Come on down. Yes, the hospitals are full. We'll find you someplace to go. Come on.
It's kind of crazy how like all that's happening like at the exact same time.
Yeah. And we've been warned for fucking years that it's coming. And my daughter, they were going somewhere yesterday, and my daughter started crying, dude. It just overwhelmed her to see all the violence, all the broken glass. There's the homeless guy. There's all the firefighters. It just seems like, she said, my wife said it just seemed like she got overwhelmed. It's like, here's the world that you are going to fucking inherit. Good luck.
How old is she?
14.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Like at that
Yeah,
age.
but to see that through the eyes of a 14-year-old and, you know, kind of realize, wow, this is the world I'm going to live in. This is my world. Because it's not gonna get better unless people wake up, you know?
Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of like I don't know what the word is, daunting. Just thinking about it, you know,
Yeah.
because it makes you think like, how are we gonna fix this and how are we gonna fix that? And I feel like some things are like too late to fix, or they'll get better before they get, or they'll get worse before they get better.
It's
So
got to be overwhelming to them. It has to
yeah,
be.
I mean,
I mean,
even to like people like my age or your age, it could be overwhelming. So I can't imagine like everything. We all like have to deal with the same thing, and then on top of that, she's like a high school student
right.
and has to deal with everything that comes with being a high school age kid, which is a lot at that age, you know.
It is. It is.
So
I can't imagine. I
it's like the
can't.
world's ending, but you got to get your essay turned in by 9 p.m.
Yeah, I know. Mine mine had an end. You know, the Cold War that I grew up in, and I talked about it before, how, you know, every single day in the news it was like, we've moved up to DEFCON 2, and the Soviets are doing this and the Russians are doing that, and it was I lived under this blanket of nuclear annihilation, so I didn't have a future for a really long fucking time, and I'm sure it did some damage to me. And now mine ended, and we could see there might possibly be an end because of, you know, a treaty, the SALT treaties between uh, governments that calmed everything down, and we would ride waves of fear. But this, dude, this is like got to be overwhelming for these kids to look, and, you know, there's
There's no end in
every
sight.
single day there's no end in sight. The water's running out, and the air is bad, and the jobs are fucked up, and there's poverty, and there's homelessness, and there's all these fucking fires and all this shit that's happening all at once. It's probably like, what am I supposed to do here with this? So I feel bad for him. At the same time, I grew up in it, and what are we going to do about it, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, we're gonna have to do something because doing nothing is just gonna it's gonna be pretty much like the end of us. So it's just a matter of when we figure it out or when we decide to actually do it. Um, that's what's gonna. Are we gonna do it when it's too late, or are we gonna do it when there's still time to turn things around?
Do you think
That's
there's
what we're
time?
probably depending on like the issue.
Well, pick an
We'll
issue. Let's pick the big one that's going right now. Water.
I feel like, I mean, I don't think I know enough about like the situation that we're in, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know how like grave it is, for me to know if it's like too late or, oh no, there's still time. I know like we're in a drought and I know it's really bad,
Yeah.
but like I don't know enough about it to really like say, oh yeah, we're past the point of no return. Or like, oh well, if we all just start like conserving now, we'll be fine in like a few years, type of
Yeah.
thing. But I mean, it's just one of those things where if the experts are telling you like, no, like this is very serious, I'll tend to believe them,
Yeah.
because after all, they are the experts.
Well, yesterday, excuse me, yesterday, my wife said she lives in a house where you and I talk, and I talk all the time, and I'm very aware, but she lives her life as a school teacher, and she's busy, and her life's overwhelmed by having a 14-year-old daughter and all this stuff. So these people that are like my wife, they don't have a lot of information. And she turned to me yesterday and she said, did you know that when the Hoover Dam gets too low, that the hydroelectric plant will shut off? And I said, yeah, I've known that for a long time. And that made me realize that people don't realize the gravity of this fucking situation, man. There's 40 million people that rely on water and electricity just from Lake Mead.
Yeah.
And they don't know. And they've been, it's that cry wolf situation so many times that they just fucking shut it off. So when you say danger, 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 nothing happens, human beings tend to go, yeah, whatever, fuck off, shut up. That's enough. So I think the issue is grave. And like you said, I don't have all the numbers, but the issue is grave because people don't believe it anymore. And if you can't get them to believe it, they're not going to conserve. And if they don't conserve, right over the edge we go.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of these issues are very like, some of them like interconnect, like our water issue. Like we've seen like low levels of like rainfall, these last few years, which is part of the reason why we don't have the same amount of water as we've had before. But also, like you said, so many people depend on, one source of water, which some can contribute to be like an infrastructure problem, Like
Right.
You can't just have one like fail safe, and then if that goes, like all these people are fucked. So I mean, you could like in that sense, like they're very like interconnected, or few issues. So it kind of makes you think, like what, like it shows you like what we need to do to address these issues.
Right.
It's just a matter of doing them at this point,
Well, we need to simplify and stop threatening people with total annihilation. Give them the fucking truth. Give them the facts of the matter. Get them to believe. But then on the other side, damn, dude, on the other side, what happens was a lot of that water being used is not being used by the consumer. In fact, most of it. It's being used by industry and agriculture and the cows and all this shit. So all this water is being sucked off right off the top, and then they tell us not to flush our toilets, and that's not going to fucking help. You need capitalism to slow the fuck down somehow, but you can't do it because, like I said, it's all interconnected. They're all dependent on each other, and that water coming out of that dam is for agriculture, and if you shut that water off, that's food, electricity, and water all at once that go away. That's terrifying to think you're going to shut off water for 40 million people, take away their food.
Yeah, and I think issues like this kind of you can see like parallels to like COVID, to the point where like you said, people just don't take it serious enough. Because it's not impacting us yet, just like, when it comes to like water usage, I mean, most of us, like if you go turn on your faucet right now, water's going to come out,
Right.
But there are people, like in Flint, in other parts of the world or other parts of the country where, water's like a daily struggle, even here, like I said, in Flint, in the United States. So they know, like they're taking it seriously,
Yeah.
But for the vast majority of people, it's not really an issue.
Well, in those outlying areas around Fresno and around Sacramento, the water's being shut off already.
Right. So it's like, to them, it's like, holy shit, this is serious,
Right.
But we don't really know about that. So we don't, the larger population doesn't really worry about it. Kind of like with COVID, like most people are like, oh, we're fine. Like, like 98% survival rate. Yeah, we'll live. It's fine until, your fucking grandma dies. Then all of a sudden, like, oh shit.
Yeah.
It's serious. So I feel like, I mean, I think that's just like I don't know if it's like a human like mentality or like an American mentality of I really won't care about it until it's impacting me. And I think that sort of mentality is what gets us in these situations where we get to the point where some of these issues are like way past due of fixing,
Right.
So I mean that's what I think when it comes to our sense of like urgency and like you mentioned earlier, the Cold War, like that shit was on everybody's mind because it could have impacted anybody in the United States at any point.
Right.
They shoot a nuke over here, like anybody could get hit and anybody could die. So everybody was like on high alert about it. But an issue like this, it's very like area specific. So if
Yeah,
you don't know what's going on, you're not really going to pay attention to it or care.
well, let's say some person in Appalachia or the South or Texas, whatever, where they have water and everything's fine in that situation. So they don't think of that as a global or a local problem. It's not a problem to them. But shut the fucking water off in LA Valley, and it becomes a problem for the entire country because you're going to see mass exodus. You're going to see breakdown of culture, breakdown of society. All your ports are going to be shut off. Everything's going to change. So when that dude in Vermont's like, it ain't my fucking problem. Yes, sir, it is. It is your problem. Then that's what we have to alert people to the fact that, yeah, if you're on the East Coast, your life will massively change if the water goes off on the West Coast.
Yeah, it's just, I think unfortunately we're going to have to get to that point for it to click for a lot of people, like they're going to have to see it impact them for them to be like, oh shit,
Do we
Probably
have
should've
to make a disaster movie and show it to them? Would that help?
I think we have plenty of those.
In a world.
I mean, even like this past like year and a half, almost going on 2 years. Like to me, I remember at the very beginning, it felt like a movie to me. I remember early on, I would like go to Target, and we would have to like wait outside when they had like a like a limit in stores.
Yeah.
Oh, you can only have 100 people in the store at a time, and there was like a line outside of Target, like just waiting to get in, and that literally has never happened in my life before.
Right.
So it was just so weird, seeing everybody wearing a mask. Because at first it was like, what the hell? Like that's just weird, Because I remember at first I would see like masks, like people wearing masks like here and there, like very early on,
Right.
So I was like, I don't know, do I want to put mine on? Like that's kind of weird, because that's what I thought of it. Like it was just that concept was like so like different to me, and now it's just like part of like everyday like culture here. Like, oh shit, don't forget your mask, or we have different like we have like leopard print mask, and like you can have your favorite football team on it. Capitalism takes over everything, even fucking public health. But
are you still wearing yours?
Yeah, when I go out, like yesterday, me and my girlfriend went to go watch a movie, and then we went to like Denny's afterwards.
Are you starting to feel foolish again for wearing it because so many people aren't?
At this point, I'm just like used to it. Like you get like, I feel like you do get looks, especially here in Bakersfield, depending on what side of town you're on.
Yeah.
But I mean, at this point, I really don't care. I mean, what like the worst? I mean, I've never had anybody like say anything to me. I've heard some of my friends like they'll go to the gym and they'll wear a mask, and one of them told like some person came up to them, they're like, a mask really? And it's like, bro, I'm not making you wear a mask. I'm just wearing it myself. Like, look at my face. Why does it bother you that I'm wearing a mask?
Yeah, I've had them. I've had a couple instances where people come up to me and say shit, but they knew me. It was a woman in the parking lot here, and she's like, I don't believe in that. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm not asking you to believe in it. I believe. So let's deal with it on that level. You don't, I do. Let's coexist. Seems
Yeah, I'm not walking up to people with like their fucking like cross chain on and be like, "Hey, I don't believe in that. Take that off. Take that chain off."
a crucifix,
Yeah,
really?
you're going to church right now, really?
But isn't that, that isn't that what we are now? Is this belligerent, poking each other, trying to draw out that fucking anger? I saw him. Herschel Walker's running in Georgia. Did you know that?
For what, like governor or like
Senate.
Senate?
Senate. They're trying to unseat the one Democrat they have there, but they're trying
They
to
have two
unseat
Democrats in Georgia.
at Herschel Walker, and he's this angry person that's being backed by Trump, and I saw this article that said Herschel Walker's anger is just American politics now, and I thought, fuck, man, why are we so mad? Why are we so divided on every single issue? It used to be we had hot button issues. Now every fucking issue is a hot button issue. You get pissed off about anything now.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen articles on Facebook, like of like some random news thing, and I was like once you see there's like 100 something comments, I'm like, there's like reading the headline, I was like, there's no way people are like angry about this. Like, what's the downside to this?
Oh yes,
And
they
then you go
are.
look at the comments, and you're like, what the hell? I remember I saw one where it was that new law that Newsom approved, that's not allowing like big corporations, and like it's mostly aimed at like Amazon and like big like distribution center warehouses where you have like quotas,
Mhm.
of like, hey, you have to scan this amount of items per hour, or whatever it may be, where going to the restroom or taking your break does not negatively impact your quota. Like a law that allows them to not do that, to not fire you
Right.
basically for, going to the restroom and not meeting your quota or taking your break. You're, legally allowed 15-minute break. And I was like, because I read the article and I was like, okay, that makes, makes
Total
pretty much sense.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you like go into the comments and like, this white businesses are moving out of California. Like we should have recalled them, blah, blah. And I'm like, you guys are fucking clowns, man. You're like defending fucking like $1 billion like corporations because you want them to be able to fire like when I grew up, or like when I was growing up, you just do a good job and like you work hard and you get paid for it.
Then you
Now,
hold that pee until you
now,
damage your bladder.
nowadays everybody's crying over everything. And I was like, Jesus Christ, did you even read the article?
No.
And that's like my new, like, I don't know, morning routine is like get on Facebook and like reply to a few people and just like get in arguments with them.
Nice.
And that was one of them because I remember I was like, I didn't even reply to anybody on that one. I just like posted a comment. I was like, look at all these people like defending these super like $1 billion corporations. And I was like, clowns, all of you. And like a few people replied to me and they were like, no, like it's just like people in California being lazy, blah, blah. And I was like, oh yeah, my bad. I forgot you had to. Next time you're at work, just don't use the restroom till you get home, so you could, maximize the profits for your boss for no reward in return.
Do not
That's
glance
the
away
spirit.
from your workstation. Don't glance. Don't even look.
Your
crazy,
number
man.
one priority at work should be making your boss the most amount of money you can humanly make him, just
Well,
so he
there's,
could pat you on the back.
and he's not even going to pat you on the back. He doesn't even know who the fuck you are. So that's the issue. That's the thing. It's like you're going to have some low level manager pat you on the back. That's about it. That's all you're going to get. These are the issues that shouldn't be hot button issues, but the things that are, and let's take this fucking vaccine thing. Jesus Christ, man, everybody is fucking angry. The people that aren't getting it are angry. The people that are getting it are angry. Everybody's calling each other names. they're picking out these niche groups. You know, I read one this morning. It's like, and it had no citations. It had nothing. It just said they, them, they believe, they think, and they never actually identified who the fuck they were talking about, the group of people they were talking about. And the article was about some people believe that the vaccine is the mark of the beast. And then it went all the way down through all this, they believe, they think, the Bible says. And then at the end of the fucking article, there's they interviewed a pastor, and he said, and I quote, "I don't think so." So here's the headline: the vaccine is the mark of the beast. So people scan those fucking headlines, and they eat that, and they digest it, and they don't look at the article. Like you said, Newsom's this, mark of the beast. You're going to be radio controlled if you get the vaccine. A small niche group of people believe that. People believe that you fucking become magnetized. And these are just these little 10 people fucking believe that, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's like it just spreads like wildfire. And
yeah,
I've gone, like I said, on Facebook recently. That's like my new daily routine. I was talking to some lady about the vaccine, and she kept quoting, or her response. She wouldn't even respond back. Like, I would say something, and then her response was like, she would just put a link to like some like fucking random ass fucking website that you could tell somebody made. Like, it was like the name of the website was like vaccinefreedom.wordpress.com.
right.
And it was like an article from there, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, I told her like all that like those were all her responses. Like, oh, you know, the Dr. Robert Malone, like the inventor of, you know, the mRNA technology, like he says no human should ever take this vaccine. So I was like, and I've heard of Robert Malone before. And one, he did not invent mRNA. Like he was like a co-author, and like, you know, he was part of it, but he wasn't like, he was like the one guy that invented it. Like it took a lot of people, you know?
Yeah. He was the like one guy in the corner saying, don't do it.
Yeah. And like all the articles, like she would link me, were like, they all quoted him as being like the inventor, and they do that. I mean, I'm guessing a lot of these people like know that that's false, like the people that write these articles, but they put that in there to add some like sense of like credibility, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, this guy created this and he's telling you not to take it. Like, who's gonna know better than that? You know, the guy that fucking invented it. Who would you believe over that? You know, that's the thing they're trying to get through to you, you know?
Right.
But, you know,
and the fact is he had something to do with it, but he didn't fucking invent it.
Yeah. It's like when people say, it's like if I send you an article like fucking Al Gore invented fucking the internet, you know?
Exactly.
Like that's not true. You know, like, oh, Bill Gates, inventor of fucking the fucking computer. Did Bill Gates invent a computer? No. He didn't invent the computer. He, you know, founded Microsoft. That's like what they're saying, you know? But like all these articles are just very, like, one, they're extremely biased. You could just tell. And like, they're just, like I said, they come from like these random ass fucking like propaganda websites. And it's like, and I told her like, I think the statement, like, do your own research, has been like misconstrued or misused. Because I told her, I was like, do your own research, you know, doesn't mean go on the internet until you find something that agrees with you. And then, oh shit, you know, I did my research, and, you know, this one website out of 20 said that I was right. So if you dig hard enough, you know, you'll find the real truth. And it's like, no, it doesn't work that way.
You have to know how to do the research in order to do your own research.
And you have to try to like validate what you see, what you find, you know.
But so where were we taught that? Where were you and I taught that? At the college level, in school. Yeah. And really, like I said, at the collegiate level is where I learned to do valid research, and I understood oh, okay, in order for me to make a point, I have to have valid truths behind it. Nowadays it's fucking Wikipedia, it's Facebook, it's Instagram, it's, whoever said whatever. If it's on the internet, it's fucking true. And a lot of people eat that right up. But you're looking at OAN does the same thing, and they're a national organization. They're on every fucking television in every conservative's home that you can imagine. That's my source. OAN is my source. Where did they get it from? Like you said, from whatever.wordpress.org.
It's not even .org. It's just .com.
.com.
But,
okay.
I mean, like I've seen some of these, channels, news channels, like OAN and like Newsmax, and I swear, like I don't know what it is about him, but like just the way it looks, like the anchor and like the background, it just looks like so fake. I don't know if it's like, have you ever seen one of them?
Yeah.
It looks like those like fake news, like stories that they'll use for like movies or like music videos, if that makes sense,
Yeah, it's
like
not
like
slick.
it's like, I don't know how to describe it, but it just looks so fake. It looks like an SNL sketch or something.
Okay. I see that. I do. It's like watching the difference between watching a movie made by a super organization versus a movie made by Amazon. You can see the difference.
Yeah. And I mean, to be honest, like I know it's like a little vulgar, but channels like that are just like, it's just a bunch of people like jerking each other off. Cause it's like,
Yeah.
they just say the same shit. They're like, oh yeah, you're right. And it's like, to me, it's like, it's people on the TV, like agreeing with each other, talking to people that are already agreeing with them. So it's like, what's getting accomplished there,
Right. But what's
And-
getting accomplished on CNN, bro? Seriously.
But I feel like,
isn't it the same thing? Because you got people like Don Lemon on CNN, and he's like, it's okay to call people stupid that don't get the vaccine. It's okay to leave them behind. And then
no, but I feel like news stations like CNN or like NBC or C-SPAN or whatever, they, like, I've seen like Republicans, like, politicians or whatever, come on CNN and like, talk about stuff. I've never seen a Democrat on OAN or Newsmax, and I don't think you ever will. They
Well, I
always
would
get
hope.
like, like the, people that agree with them, because, that's just makes it easy for them
yeah,
to talk to somebody that already agrees with you. I've seen, Chris Cuomo, go back and forth with somebody on CNN, as opposed to, I don't know who the fuck is the anchor on OAN.
I know.
Go back, like they don't go back and forth with people. The one time I saw somebody go back and forth was that, I don't know if you saw that veteran that was like criticizing Trump, and they like cut him off.
No,
So like that just goes to show you, like they had this veteran thinking, oh, it's a former vet, like he's, should be easy.
Yeah.
And this dude starts like fucking shitting on Trump, and they just like cut him off, like mid fucking sentence.
Well, they cut
it's like-
CNN's cut, Trump off mid sentence.
Yeah, but I mean, I think those two things are very like, if you actually look at those two situations, like look at what's going on, I think you tell the difference between why they cut the other person off.
That's you and I talking from center left. Well, if you're center right or further over than that, get the president getting cut off, they're saying the exact same fucking shit that you're saying right now. And that's where we're divided, man. And we shouldn't be cutting each other off at all, I don't think. If that's even possible nowadays. All I'm saying is every news organization has its agenda, and they're going to follow it through. Because
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, like they'll have a bias. I mean, it's pretty much impossible to not have a bias, like on anything, like anybody. Everybody has some sort of bias.
Sure.
on everything. So, I mean, you just kind of have to like control it and kind of try to suppress it as much as you can when it comes to like things like reporting news, you know?
Yeah.
But I mean, there's some instances where you kind of like it's fairly obvious, like, you know, that there's a, you know, antagonist in, you know, a certain issue. So in those cases, I feel like it's okay to, when it directly points to like a culprit, you know,
Right.
it's like, okay, well, so and so did this, that caused this.
Okay.
And
Well,
sometimes that's just the news. Like that's not even like a bias. It's just that's what happened, you know?
what about these people that are inventing the culprit? And here's my example. Like I said, Don Lemon's attacking the unvaccinated. What's his name? The shock jock, Howard Stern. He said, you know, when are we going to stop putting up with these fucking idiots and say it's mandatory to get vaccinated? And everybody on this side of the argument is like, everybody who's not vaccinated is a fucking idiot. And we've demonized them. Okay,
Yeah.
let's cut that off, Lalo. Let's just stop right there and say, all right, let's look at the real reasons people aren't getting vaccinated. And I back up to say, you know, you got these fringe groups of people that are like, it's the mark of the beast and I'm radio controlled and all this shit. And those are a very small percentage of the half of Americans that haven't gotten fucking vaccinated. But that's the ones the media brings up so we can demonize everyone who hasn't gotten the vaccine. But the real problem here is the thread that runs all of our podcasts together is poverty and the situation that people live in. So you've got two New York Times. I read a New York Times article. It said there's really two groups of people here. There's the rural Christian conservative people, the white people who aren't getting it, and they have these reasons that are like it's based in the religion, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So they have a different way of looking at, the government isn't their moral authority. God is their moral authority. And whether you and I agree with that or not, that's not for us to say. So they're listening to the church, they're listening to the pastors, they're saying, you know, don't get it. And I believe that it's evil to get it or whatever. Clearly half of the people not getting it are Hispanic and black. And do you know why? Because they're afraid. The Hispanics, half of fucking Hispanics have reported that showing up to get a vaccine, they're asking for social security numbers, health cards, documentation. They're gathering fucking data off these people and they know it. So they're not getting it. And yet they're demonized. And what about the single mother who can't get sick? Dude, she has to take care of her kids. And they're telling her, you might be down for 2 days. What about the fucking people working in the fields who make $120 a day and they make $600 a week and they can't afford to be sick for 2 days? What about the fucking poverty people? What about the poor? What about the afraid? What about all the undocumented people here? And yet we demonize all of them. Fuck them. If you're not going to get the vaccine, fuck you. You're the problem. And the problem again falls back to it's poverty and stupidity and ignorance and lack of opportunity. And yet Don Lemon goes on and says, leave them behind. So if this was any other issue, Lalo, for Don Lemon to say leave them behind would be a racist statement. But in this case, no, they're stupid. You don't get a vaccine, you're fucking stupid. We need to stop demonizing people. And if we have to, you know what? If we need to vaccinate 40 million John Smiths because they don't want to say who the fuck they are, then that's what we need to do.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with what you're saying, and I understand what you're saying. But I don't think it's like, because I mean, like you said, it's pretty much like split down the middle, right?
Yeah, it's 57-43.
Right. So I mean, that's like That's like over 150 million people that are, you know, not trying to get vaccinated.
Right.
But I don't think like the majority of those people are like the people that you just described, you know, like poverty stricken or like, you know, like just the whole like type of people that you described right now, you know.
Well, how many people are living paycheck to paycheck in our country? How many people are living in poverty here?
I
So
mean,
that a
like
majority.
legally, when it comes to like the poverty, you know, threshold that the line that they draw, it's about like 11 to like 13% of people, somewhere
But
around there.
you and I both have discussed that before, and that line is bullshit because when you got three people living on $30,000 and it depends on the city you're living in, you know,
Yeah,
that you
but I
live
mean,
in a scary situation.
I mean, a lot of places, I think most places, they offer you like paid sick leave for the vaccine. Like, unless it's like some like super like small business. But I mean, even then, I think they've gotten like loans for like to be able to provide for your employees for like paid sick leave. Because I
Mm-hmm.
know like my brother, I mean, obviously he works for the opposite of a small business. He works for Amazon. You know, after he got his vaccine, they give you like the next day off, or like they give him like 2 weeks of time he could use for, you know, reactions and whatnot.
And you really think McDonald's and Walmart and our
Yeah,
huge,
all those places offer like paid like for the vaccine, like specifically because you got the vaccine, you can take like 2 days off, paid. It's like we got that like paid time off like reward or something. It was like 80 hours. So like most like businesses offer that. I just don't think that's a majority of people. Like that's the category they fall in when it comes to like why they're not getting the vaccine. I think a vast majority of people not getting the vaccine are people that are like you said, those like mark of the beast people, or like, no, it's gonna fucking like they're gonna, you know, it's gonna magnetize me, or it's gonna fucking, you don't know what's in the vaccine. I think that's the vast majority of people not willing to get it, because I think at this point it's very like, one, it's free, it's very accessible. You could go to like any like Rite Aid or Walgreens or whatever.
did they ask you for your health card when you got there?
No, I just went to BC. It was like a drive-through thing. Like I just filled out the paper and then
I got
just,
asked. My wife got asked. And most everyone I know who went somewhere
like
because
my parents,
the main
they don't have health insurance. They went to Walgreens or Rite Aid, I think. My sister too. They didn't. I think early on they were asking that because I remember like when they had like the phases. I remember like even some of our coworkers are like, oh, they even charged me like $22 for like administrative
right.
reasons, you know? And they're like, what the fuck? No, it should have been free, you know? But
Okay, when it rolled out, that's what happened. So then
yeah,
you got a lot of people who went who didn't want to give that information, and they have not gotten the information right in their heads because you know what we
but I
talk
mean,
about all the
what
time,
information is that like what that people are
that it
so
changed.
no, but like what information are people giving that is so like
Well, I'm saying from the beginning. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is they haven't updated their information since this thing started. It's just like I'm not getting that because they asked me for whatever information that they asked me for. So
I mean, I'm sure there's people.
we can't. My point is, dude, we can't fucking demonize everyone, and that's what we're doing. And when you do that, you alienate everyone.
Yeah,
Everybody
I
gets
mean,
alienated here.
I agree that you can't, or at least we shouldn't. That's not really gonna help. Like, that's not gonna convince anybody, you know. But I also
No,
think
shaming people doesn't work.
I don't think like I think the vast majority, like I said, fall in that other category of like, market the beast, like they're gonna mind controllers type of thing. I think those people, which is again, I think in my opinion, a vast majority of them, I don't think
That's
anything's gonna.
about they're about half of the people. They're about 25% of the total population. But half of the people who aren't getting vaccinated fall into that category. And I don't mean that fringe shit. I just mean I don't want it because I don't trust the government. Basically, I don't trust my God. So I can't blame them for not trusting the government. And you can't either, because you and I both don't trust the government. They just take it further. And like I said, demonizing them does one thing. It forces them further back into the corner. We're not talking to them. We're just pointing a fucking finger at them saying, you evangelical moron. And that just drives them further back. And they say, see, I'm being attacked for my beliefs.
Yeah, but I think we've already tried talking to them, like in the like ways of like, here's the facts, like here's the, here are the numbers, like it works, it's effective,
right?
And they're just like, nah.
Well, it
I think
falls into that
point,
distrust thing.
Yeah, but at that point, I feel like it's like there's some responsibility to or like some, I don't know, fault to lay on them at that point, because you've given them like everything that they asked for. Oh, it's not FDA approved, I don't want to take it. Okay, here's FDA approval. Oh, it's not, whatever the reason was. I'm pretty sure there's like numbers and statistics to like prove otherwise,
Right.
And they're just like, no, I'm still not gonna take it. And then I think at that point, it's like, all right, then you're a fucking idiot.
See,
it's like, because I mean, it all, like I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Like these people, like they want things to go back to normal without taking the steps, without putting any work in, without taking the steps necessary for things to go back to normal.
Right.
And like they think like it's some fucking, like there's people all over the world taking like these vaccines. It's not like it's a US localized thing,
Well, I was talking specifically about United States. I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm saying like if they were to think about it, like this shit's happening all over the world. Do you think like they're gonna, like I've heard people say like, oh yeah, like in 3 to 5 years, everyone that's taking the vaccine's gonna die. I was like, really? Like that's what you think? You think half of the fucking world is gonna die in 3 to 5 years from taking this vaccine?
It's like one of the conspiracy theories.
That's what you think? If that's what you think, like fuck you, dude. Like no, there's nothing I can say that's gonna like change your mind. Like
they actually believe that a 900-year-old man built a boat the size of 3 football fields and gathered all the animals from the fucking world, dude. Why wouldn't they believe?
I mean, if that's the case, exactly. I'm not like there's.
I'm not putting anybody down. I'm just saying that's what they think.
So it's just like I understand why people like, who was it that you mentioned, like Don Lemon, like, because at some point it becomes like frustrating, like we have the solution like right here. It's literally like in our hands, and you're like, here's the fix to your problem, and they're like, no, I'm just gonna not take it but complain about the problem and keep complaining about it until I want the problem to go away without me doing anything about it. And I think that's an American like specific belief, because I mean I don't live in like other places, but I mean as far as I'm sure it happens like in other places around the world, like here and there, but for the most part I think we're the most like skeptical and I don't know, stupid like population.
Can we say suspicious instead of stupid?
I mean, I've talked, like I have family in Mexico, and like I'll talk to them over the phone, and like they'll ask me like, oh, how are things over there? Like, it's crazy, all this thing going on, like everything that's going on. I'm like, yeah, like, hanging in there, like, trying to stay healthy. And they're like, okay, like, well, make sure you get, your shot. Like we all got our shot over here. And it's like, yeah, that's how it should be. Like
Right.
it's a health issue.
But didn't we talk about this at the beginning of this podcast where people like in Vermont are like, fucking water is not my problem. Right?
Yeah, and I mean, like you said,
Okay. That's
a
how
lot of it
Americans think. It's not my problem. The world is not my problem. My problem is my problem right here in my household.
yeah, and I mean, it's one of those things where it's just so, like you said, everything is a hot button issue, even things that shouldn't be, and everything's so politicized, even though it shouldn't be. So, I mean, if we're gonna live in a country that way, like everything's gonna be just like straight down the middle.
Right.
And it's gonna take a long time for like progress to show up if that's the way we're gonna react to things that shouldn't be, like, it shouldn't be an issue in the first place.
Well, I got some here. The split is the lion's share of the white people that you're talking about are about 50%. It's about 50% of the
white people.
Yeah, they're mainly white. The ones you're talking about, the evangelical Christians, they're mainly rural, mainly white, mainly conservative. That's the largest portion of those people. And they cite...
I mean, I didn't say white, but if the shoe fits.
I'm just looking at the statistics here, dude. I'm just looking at them. And they're the ones who are adamantly against it tend to be white, rural evangelicals who are politically conservative. And the next group of people, the other half, are urban, younger, black, Latino Democrats. So half of the people who are unvaccinated are these liberals, and half of them are conservatives, man. It's split down the middle. That's what's happening.
Does that mean that half of the vaccinated people are like, because you know what I'm trying to say? Like, because if you're saying half of the unvaccinated people are like liberals, which would mean 25%, right?
Right.
But for that to add up, that means 25% of the vaccinated people are like conservative, right?
That's what it's saying
because,
here.
I mean, the country is pretty much like half, like split down the middle when it comes to liberal and conservative,
right?
Or like Democrat and Republican.
So everything that would split would be split again.
Logically,
I guess.
Like those issues that you were mentioning earlier about, like the reasons why people haven't gone vaccinated or are hesitant. I feel like we've done like a lot to try to like alleviate those issues or like make it easier. Like, oh, you can't afford to take off work. All right, everybody's gonna have like paid time off after getting the vaccine. Some places are even paying you. Like my brother got like an extra like $80 like per shot to take it. Oh, you want it readily accessible? You could go to any fucking Rite Aid or Walgreens or pharmacy here in town, and they'll have them for you. Like we'll have vaccine clinics or whatever. So I feel like if that's what your concerns are, like, oh, I can't miss work, or I don't have time, or which are real issues, like real problems. Like we're actively trying to alleviate those and make it accessible and easy and fast. So you don't have to think about it, just get it done and okay, back to your, job, back to your life. But I think, again, it's that chunk of people that are just like, no, like I trust my immune system, blah, blah. Like people are just like coming, like they're just like pulling shit out of their ass, like when it comes to excuses. And it's like, oh, we were born with immune systems last time I checked. I was like, oh shit, my bad. I didn't know you never went to the doctor in your life. You have cancer? Don't go to the doctor, bro. Just Let your immune system handle it. Like what kind of thinking is that? You know?
Well, it's coming back down to the same things again. And people are uneducated, and they have not updated the information. It's so many times, especially Americans. It looks like to me, the first thing they hear, that's the thing that's you're gonna have to disprove the first thing I just heard, even if it's fucking wild. It doesn't matter if it's some conspiracy theory and I bite onto it. You're gonna have a hell of a time convincing people that, you know, this fucking data that's coming out is fascinating. It's like 64% of Latinos who were unvaccinated said that their main concern was about not being able to go to work. That's almost three fucking fourths of people of color who say they don't believe that they're going to get time off from work. That's a valid concern. No matter what you tell them now, no, you're going to get time off from work. Are they not believing it? Are they not taking advantage of it? Do they distrust it? Do they talk to their boss and say, you know, I'm going to go get the vaccine. Can I get 2 days off? And the boss is like, well, I'll check.
Yeah, I mean, like to me, like those, like don't get me wrong, those are like valid, like reasons, you know, or like concerns. But I think when you get to the point where, okay, these are my concerns, and then they're like, okay, here we address your concerns, and then they're like, okay, well, what about this? Okay, well, here's that, you know, it's FDA approved. Okay, well, like at that point, you're not trying to get vaccinated. Like you're just trying to find an excuse to like push it back or like not do it. And at that point, like we can't help you. Like just say you don't want it so I could call you an idiot. You know?
God damn, man. Where's your empathy? God damn it.
The empathy was like 3 steps before, like, oh, you want, you know, pay time off, that's fine. You know, reasonable people get, you know, have adverse reactions to the vaccine. You get sick, like a day or two, here's your time off. Oh, you want it, you know, around the corner, here it is. That's the empathy. Because, you know, we know like people are in different situations, you know, can't miss work, paycheck to paycheck, etc. So we are addressing those things in an empathetic way. But if you're just using those as like fake shields of, you know, hesitancy, but your real motive is like, oh, I don't fucking trust this shit. Like, what's in the vaccine? Like, bro, what's in half the shit you eat? You don't know. What's in the McDonald's wait last week? I bet you it wasn't beef.
I know. I get it. I'm all I'm saying is maybe they're not asking. Maybe they're not, you know, maybe they're not questioning a system that they don't trust to begin with. And
yeah, and that's why we're like,
they're so fucking, you know, here's your $11 an hour. Here's your $12 an hour. Go the fuck away. You know, and
you've done a pretty decent job of like kind of throwing out the information like, hey, you know, you could get vaccinated anywhere. Hey, you know, pay time off. Like employers like make that known. Like, hey, you guys, we have a pay time off if you get the vaccine.
But you know any field workers?
Personally, yeah, I know a few. They've had like shot clinics like go out to the fields, like those like ever seen those like big RVs where they like draw your blood and stuff, where it's like a whole little, it's kind of like one of those things, but they go out there.
Well, we want to disseminate some information here, and what I'm saying is that dude or that girl or whoever goes out into the field early in the morning, comes home late at night. They're not watching the news. They're not listening. They just have this belief that maybe I'll get asked for my social security number. Maybe I'll this, maybe I'll that. Maybe I don't trust. And we got to find a way to gently nudge these people again. And I know, dude, I'm fucking tired. I'm just as tired as you. And in the back of my mind, I'm screaming, would you fucking just get it? For God's sakes, let's do this. But at the same time, the anger and the blame and the shame and the division and the bullshit is not working. That's not working. We have to change tactics is all I'm asking. And you know, go to the, I don't know how to do it. I'm not saying here's the answer, but I'm saying this is not the fucking answer. The Don Lemons and you're a fucking moron and you should be left behind. This is not the answer.
Well, I mean, for some, or not for some, for a lot of people, I don't think there is an answer. Like, there's no way, I mean, at least that I can see, that you're going to convince some of these people. Like, there's no way. Like, literally nothing. Not a single thing you could say. Not a single, shred of numbers or statistics or evidence you show them. It's going to change their mind. Nothing. So at that point, like what, like there is no, nudging over to the other side. Like, yeah, there's people that fall into that category, that are like on the fence.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there that are saying, I'm going to do it. I'm just dubious. I'm going to do it. How many times have you heard that? I've heard it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I even had a friend recently that got COVID like 2 weeks ago, and he was like, man, I was about to like set up my appointment.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, yeah, but, they're fine. But, some people are just putting it off because they're just putting it off. But some people are just not going to do it. Like, they don't care. Like, they're literally like fucking buying $200 like fake vaccination cards. Like, that's how much this matters to them. And so, like, those people, like, you're not going to convince them. So, I mean, what are you going to do at that point? And that's a large, like, number of people, too. That's like millions of people.
Well, there's 350 million, 360 million people in this country. I do believe that if we vaccinated everybody that wanted, number one, and then convinced the ones that are on the fence, number two, I think we're getting closer to herd immunity, because I don't think that there's a huge proportion of America that's it's just that I believe that it's fringe groups, and fringe groups who are being spotlighted by media organizations, which drives a lot of fucking people to think I shouldn't get vaccinated. But if you said, you know what, it's only 1% of people who believe it's the mark of the beast, that paints a whole different fucking picture. And if we could paint that picture of like, yes, there are people out there who believe like this, but the majority of us, and I believe it's a majority, will be okay to get it. But they're just constantly shamed, which drives them into a corner, constantly fear-mongered, which drives them into a corner, and then denounced, marginalized. And if I'm the guy that's sitting and not vaccinated because I don't trust the government, I'm like, okay, I'm going to get it. I just need a little bit more time. And I turn the fucking TV on, and this Don Lemon fucking moron talking head is calling me names. I'm like, well, fuck you. I'm not going to get it.
But like, time for what? Like what's like it's been out for like, there's over a year of like research and like development put into this vaccine at this point. Like the people that were like, oh, well, I want to wait, see if there's like any like reactions to people. Like the first shots were being like administered in like January, I think, or February.
Right.
Like it's been months. And people are like, oh, well, we don't know about long-term effects. Well, like since it became like since they started like trials and stuff. The trial started in like late 2020,
Right, but mass vaccination didn't start until January or February.
But like, one of the biggest things you hear is like, oh, well, we don't know about long-term effects. Like these types of vaccines don't create like effects, like things aren't going to pop up like 2 years from now, like that's not how it works. Like I'm pretty sure all side effects show up like 6 to 8 weeks after getting it.
But that's not the information people had. That's not the information people got in the beginning. That was the answer to I'm scared of the side effects. All people hear is side effects. And then you come along and I come along and I say, no, side effects, blah, blah. And it just rattles around in an empty space in their head. All they hear is long-term side effects. That's all they get. And that's all they believe. So, maybe it is a year, dude. Maybe it is.
Exactly, but like what at that point, what are you gonna tell them at that point? Or like what, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like there's
right.
If they had a concern and you address the concern and that still doesn't change their mind, like you're not.
These are the people that we can talk to. The ones that say, I'm gonna get it. I'm just waiting. Okay, what are we waiting on? And we can have a discussion. And what I'm trying to say is I have concerns. I'm waiting. Well, you're a fucking idiot. That's what Don Lemon's doing. And he's doing it on a platform of 5 million people are watching him. And then that 5 million people get online and they say, Don Lemon said you're a fucking moron. And then that Facebook and this information disseminates throughout culture, reverberates this anger and this fucking denouncing of other people and failure to understand that other people have issues and mental health and poverty and all these fucking things are tied together. All I'm saying is stop being fucking angry. Stop Herschel Walker. Stop Donald Trump. Stop half of fucking Texas. Stop them. We got to stop being angry. We got to start talking, man. I don't know how to do it. I think things like this podcast, if that would help. And going, Dr. Fauci, who was attacked and attacked and attacked, he never attacked back. That's the type of people we need. The ones that will not attack you back, that will simply say, nope, I'm sorry, but this is the correct information. If you want to fight against that, that's fine. It doesn't make that person on the other side of that argument a fucking idiot. It makes them frightened. It makes them misinformed, but not a fucking idiot. That's where we're failing miserably, dude.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree and I disagree, at the same time. Does that make sense? And I don't know if it's just like, it might be just like the people that I see or like, that I interact with or that I see on the internet. But I mean, for the majority, when it comes to, like I said, what I see, it's the people that are on the other end that are like super vocal about being anti-vax. It's like the mark of the beast. It's the, well, you don't know what's in the vaccine type of people.
Yeah.
That are, they have like this facade of like fake, real concerns, that don't make any sense when you like present them the facts. Like you said, people are like, oh, I'm just waiting for what? And then they're like, and then they can't really give you something like definitive. They're like, then what do you mean you're waiting? Like once you push on them, like if you like try to, push at them a little bit and then you kind of get to see like, oh, well, in reality, they just don't want to take it because they just don't want to take it.
I think we need to start talking.
Because if you're afraid of something, there's a reason why you're afraid, So
right.
Like, what are you afraid of? That's a good question to ask. And then they'll tell you like, oh, well, I'm afraid of this. Well, or I heard this, or, my friend took it and, got really sick. Okay, well, here, let me show you something. And then they're just like, no, because my friend got really sick, so I'm going to stick with that.
Because my cousin's friend got, what was it? Nicki Minaj?
Exactly. So it's like even like at work, we have a coworker that's her thing. Like, oh, I have a few friends that got really sick afterwards. And so she's like dead set on like not getting it. Like she's trying to find like some sort of like religious exemption. Right. And it's like, bro, you want to get your fucking nose like jabbed in every week instead of just taking this vaccine?
Well, isn't that?
I think at that point, for me at least, it's fair to call him an idiot.
But aren't the people that are getting jabbed every week still safe? Aren't they still doing their part? Isn't that either this or this, and they made their choice?
Yeah, I mean, we're not gonna like fucking tie people down and stab them in the arm,
right?
But I mean, if like it's just prolonging like back to like normalcy, you know,
right?
Because I mean, if you like just look into how viruses work, you know, the longer they're, you know, floating around, the more they can mutate, and you know, the longer our fucking hospitals are gonna be jam packed. Like, yeah, sure, you can get tested weekly, but let's say you get sick at some point and you have to go to hospital or whatever. Like, that could have just been completely prevented.
I think the people that are getting tested weekly and not wearing their mask, they're just getting tested because they don't want a shot or they don't want to participate. I don't understand. Those people are dangerous. Because I get tested on Friday and be exposed on Saturday and be spreading it by Tuesday.
Right. So, and I mean, we're not gonna test like 3 times a week, you know?
Right.
We just don't have those kind of like resources to demand that from people. So, I mean, we're giving them a choice, yeah, but at the same time, it's just kind of like stalling and prolonging like
the inevitable.
What we all really want is like going back to normal. That's what everybody wants, you know? Everybody can agree on that. Like, we want things to go back to normal.
Right.
But,
so we can continue to enjoy our smoke forecast, right?
Part of us like realize like it's not gonna get there on its own. We have to, you know, work at it. And it's usually those people that are very like anti, like, oh, you guys are just fucking lazy, like feeding off unemployment, are the ones that don't want to work at getting things back to normal, which is very ironic in my opinion.
See, there's another attack on another group of people that's unwarranted. And the attack is just as uneducated as the people who aren't taking advantage of the situation. Everybody's just uninformed and calling each other names. It's true. It seems like Facebook and attacking people from behind the keyboard has spilled over into real life, spilled over into politics, spilled over into rallies. And where we used to say, boo, you suck, now we're like, fuck you, and we're attacking people. And it's crazy, man. We need to, I'll end with this. We need to end this, but I'll end with this. Man, when I boxed, my coach told me, never fight angry. You'll lose. Never lose your temper, and always stay in control of yourself. So even if you are angry on the inside, it's no reason to call people names, man. We have to keep trying, because like the vaccinations, like the water situation, like all these huge fucking issues that we have, we can't just throw up our hands and say you're a fucking idiot. We can't just throw up our hands and say, well, I don't know, I can't take care of the water situation. I can't take care of the pollution. I can't take care of the pandemic. Yes, we can, if we stay calm and talk about these things and convince these people you need to save water. You need to put a mask on. You need to get a vaccine. You need to stop eating so much meat. You need to, all these fucking things are happening out here. And all we've done is just divide and start yelling at each other. And while we're yelling, the water table goes down. While we're yelling, COVID numbers go up. And nothing's being done because we're all so fucking mad at each other. We need to quit.
Yeah. I mean, that's very, I don't know what's the word. I guess that's a higher road that I would take. Because I'm perfectly fine calling people idiots when I think it's like warranted, you know.
Okay.
Just
Well,
like,
if you're doing the milk crate challenge, you're a fucking idiot. Okay, I'll say that. There you go. I just watched some dude go up the milk crate challenge, and break his fucking neck, and people are still doing it. That's an idiot. Those are idiots.
it's just, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it sometimes, but it's just like those things where it's like, to me, for some of these people, like there's no convincing.
Yeah, I agree.
Like there's like, you're not going to convince them. Like you can't, and you're not going to, like, no matter what you tell them. Fucking God himself could come down and tell them like, hey, take it. And they'll be like, nah, that's not God. That's some like fucking fake. Like, you know,
I'm
like nothing.
I'm with you, man. But it's not just the vaccine. It's obesity. It's cigarette smoking. It's drugs. It's opiates. It's homelessness. People
Yeah,
that
but
are,
I think those issues, like, you can't really, like, there's some issues that are comparable and then some that you can't. Like, this is a public health issue. Like, your choice affects other people, you know. Kind of, I mean, you know, cigarette smoking's kind of comparable, you know, like secondhand smoke, stuff like that.
obesity is comparable. And fully 60% of us are obese now, and we know
Yeah, but
what's happening.
is you standing to a fat person going to make you fat?
As a matter of fact, yeah, if you're in their family, that's a study that was done. If you have an obese parent, guess what?
Well, yeah, because chances are they're going to feed you like the same thing they're eating.
Exactly.
But,
So
like,
this is a public health issue also.
I
And
just
it's
don't think it's that comparable. You know, if you're pumping gas next to somebody that could only afford, you know, $5 in their tank, that's not going to make you put only $5 in your tank. Like, so I think
I
when it
get
comes
it.
to like public health and like public safety, we kind of have to do things that, even though may not seem necessary for us, it's not meant for the individual. It's meant for, you know, the society, the community. And that's what people don't, that's what we don't have. We don't have a sense of community here. And
There you go.
I don't
That's
know if it's
perfect.
not, if it's only here or other places, but definitely for sure here, there's no sense of community, at least when it comes to this like
Not
COVID stuff.
not this issue, but thank God at the end of every news story they tell us about somebody who had a sense of community. Then we can all go, "Whew, okay, we're not complete barbarians yet."
Yet.
Yet. All right, man. It's been a good one. We kind of disagreed. Awesome. I like that.
Yeah, that's
So
fine.
listen, everybody, go get your fucking vaccine. I know you're not an idiot. All right. Lalo
Some
might
of
think
them,
you are. Somebody thinks you are, but
some of
I'm
them
not.
are definitely idiots.
All right, idiots, listen up. Don't procreate. Well, all I can say, dude, is just go get vaccinated, right? Just go get it done. Protect yourself, protect others, protect your community. Let's get this over with, because we can't see the sun right now, and we got some other issues we need to take care of, but we need to take care of this one first. And then we need to save water and clean up the planet, and Jesus Christ. My 14-year-old's crying, people. Come on.
Long list, long laundry.
Well, I'll see you next week, man.
Will do.
Everybody
Do you feel more pricked up like last week or like 2 weeks ago?
do what?
You said by the end of the podcast you felt like more like awake, you know, from your
Oh
hangover.
yeah. Yeah. I feel like we've talked about some things that make both sides of the issue, and maybe people will stop to think, okay, yeah, my anger is justifiable, but my outburst is not. So let's just think about it like that. And as always, it's built right into the name of the podcast. We might be so full of shit we don't know, right? We might be thoroughly fucking wrong, and that's just the way it is. So, see you next week, dude.
Later, man.
Later. You have now experienced the Thoroughly Wrong Project with your podcast hosts, Lalo and Bob. We can now be found on Pandora Radio, Apple Podcasts, Podium Podcast, or by searching The Thoroughly Wrong Project to locate our YouTube channel. You can contact us directly by email at thoroughly-wrong@gmail.com or just leave a comment on any of our platforms. Until next time, thanks for spending your valuable time with us, and remember, always speak up and never be afraid to be thoroughly wrong.